Okay, so what we've got here, guys, two questions just like we've been working on over the last few days. We've got one that's a v equals d over t question that contains two parts. So it's an average velocity is total displacement over total time type of question. Okay, and then we've got a question involving a velocity versus time graph. Okay, we've done a bunch of those over the last couple of days as well. So we're just going to look at those so that you know how the quizzes work. Okay, I post them obviously the night before. Okay, you guys do them, you come in, it's the same quiz the next day. I'm not trying to trick you. Okay, you come in, you write the same quiz. Right? As the quiz is being marked, okay, I'm recording the answers. Okay, and I will post them in PowerSchool. Right? So when you go into PowerSchool, if you're looking at your assignments and things like that, if you click on an individual assignment, it opens up the details of that assignment. You guys done that before? Okay. In those details will be two links if it's a quiz. Okay. The links will be like quiz 2 questions. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the document you used last night, okay, to practice the quiz, just the PDF. Right. The other one will say podcast of quiz 2. Right. That's a link that will take you to a YouTube video, which is what I'm doing right now, okay, of the solutions to that quiz. Okay. Now I know a few of you, the wheels are probably already turning, going, okay. So I might be able to find like old versions of these on Claire's YouTube channel and get them to answers ahead of time. You won't. Okay? All of those are unlisted, which means you can't find them in a search. They don't appear on my channel. The only way you see them is by using the link in PowerSchool. Okay? So you can go ahead and look all you want, but I'm going to save you some time. Okay? So that's how you can do it. The purpose of doing that is this. When you're studying for your unit exam or your final exam, okay, one of the things you want to do is look back at your quizzes. If there's a quiz you didn't do well on, I would do it again. Okay, call it up. Okay, so you have the questions, try it again, watch the podcast, see if you did it right. If you're still not getting it right, that's something you should come in and see me and scheduled helper at lunch for before an exam. Okay, so that's the purpose of doing it that way. That's how you should use the quizzes to your advantage. Okay. All right, so for question number 1. Okay, we have a bear chases a deer at 20 meters per second due north for 185 meters. The bear falls down, the deer turns and runs past it. So the bear chases the deer another 83 meters south before catching it 9.48 seconds later. What is the average velocity of the bear? All right, how many parts to this question? 2, okay? There's the north part and the south part. And then, of course, there's the totals that we're going to need. So first thing we want to do is write down our givens, okay? That is what the question told us about the trip. All right, so what it told us was the velocity of the bear in part 1 was 20 meters per second north, and the displacement was 185 meters north. In part 2, the time was 9.48 seconds, and the displacement was 83 meters south. All right, so that's what I know. The question wants to know what the average velocity of the bear is. So 1 mark if they have givens written down. I always give a mark for givens. So 1 mark if they wrote some stuff down. Okay, the question wants to know the average velocity over the entire trip. Average velocity is the total displacement divided by the total time. So I need to know what the total displacement of the bear is over the 2 parts and the total time for the running. Okay, so right now I can calculate the total displacement, can't I? I know how far north it ran, I know how far south it ran, I can figure out how far its displacement is. All right, so the total displacement is going to be 185 north minus 83 south, okay, giving me 102 meters north. All right, so that's the total displacement of the bear. So I now have that. I've got my total displacement. What I now need is my total time, and I don't have the time for part 1. That's what I'm going to need. So I will calculate it by manipulating v equals d over t. So t equals d over v, that'll be 185 meters divided by 20 meters per second. Okay, if they have something like that, okay, as method, they can have a mark for that. Okay, so we have 185 divided by 20. Okay, so 9.25 seconds. should have got a mark for this, 3 marks. Okay, so now for the total time, okay, we're going to take our 9.48 and add it to 9.25. It should be 18.73, yeah? Seconds? Yeah. All right, so there's our total time. So now we can calculate our average velocity by simply dividing those two numbers. So we'll have 102 meters north divided by 18.73 seconds. They'll get a method mark for that. And our average velocity, 102 divided by 18.73. Okay, it's going to come out to 5.45. Okay, if they only have one decimal place, they have 5.4. That's fine because I'm going over significant digits today. Okay, so if they have some rounded version of 5.45, okay, we'll call it good. 5.45 meters per second north. They must have all of that, guys. If they don't have units, they don't get this mark. If they don't have direction, they don't get this mark. Okay, I don't give half marks. Okay? You either got it right and knew it was a vector quantity, or you didn't. Okay, so they have to have it all there to get that full 5th and final mark. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? Okay. For our graph. And I changed the units on our test here. It was meters per second. Okay, this was in seconds. All right, so we've got our velocity versus time graph here. Okay, and we want to calculate the total displacement, which means I need to find the area under the line, or between the line and the x-axis. That's what I've got to find, because effectively that means I'm doing this. I'm taking average velocity, multiplying it by time, and getting displacement. Okay, and I'm going to do that for each section of the graph because the average velocity in each section of the graph is different. Okay, so here are the shapes we're going to be looking for. Okay, 5 shapes. Questions out of 6 marks. You get 1 mark for each shape plus the total. Pretty straightforward. Okay, this first triangle here, we have a base of 10 and a height of 60, but it's a triangle. Okay, so it's basically 60 times 10 over 2, which is 300. Okay, this rectangle here is 60 high by 5 long, 300. Right, this one is 60 high, but it's 15 long. That one I'm not going to do in my head. Okay, so 30 times 15, because it's a triangle, right, is 450. Okay, so 1 mark for each of these numbers here, guys. Okay, then I've got this triangle here that is 10 on the base and negative 40 high, so that'll be negative 200. And then I've got this one that's negative 40 high by 15 long. Okay. And divide that by 2. All right, so we got 3. That's going to be negative 300. All right, so 1 mark each for all of those. Okay, and then we're looking at our total here. So we've got 1,050 in the positives and 500 in the negatives. So we're looking at a total displacement of positive 550 meters for our 6th and final mark. Questions on that one? Okay, please give them a mark out of 11 at the top of the sheet. Let them see it. Once you have seen your quiz, please bring it back here and put it in a nice neat pile here.